Happy Black Friday, Pat.
Hey, Brad, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Our show is 50% off today.
What, 50% of what? We don't charge people anything.
Well, that was your one job.
Okay. Our revenues are way down then.
Yeah.
Sorry.
How many Black Friday emails did you get today? I mean, it's just one after another.
Yeah.
Places that you wouldn't even think would have a Black Friday sale had a Black Friday sale.
Yeah.
It's a couple of quick housekeeping things. I want to let Keto Man know at his request. He was saying some of our charts were hard to see, so I've changed it to Tyler. I was just going to ask about you. Hang in there.
Hey there,
Tyler. He was asking if we could switch to 1080p, which I've done because he watches us on his television. When he puts the charts up, they're kind of pixelated. So I'm hoping that this really shows an improvement today. But the chart that you share, Pat, the one that has like your price sheet, there's probably nothing we can do about that one because it's so tiny.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll try that when we have absolutely no material next time. But Tyler, I was going to ask about you. Tyler lives in Ensenada, Mexico, and they had a magnitude 6.2 quake. And I was wondering how many dishes got broke.
Really? Wow.
That's a pretty good size one, for Mexico. And so I read that there wasn't a lot of damage and there were no injuries, but it can shake a few things off the shelf. And then I wanted to share this as a proud dad moment here.
Here we
Some
go.
of you know, my son works for Robot Chicken, and they have a division called Stupid Buddy Studios. And Disney reached out to them and quite a while ago, and they're doing their first Mickey Mouse Saves Christmas, first Disney stop motion animation, Mickey Saves Christmas. And my son was the lead animator for this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's going to air Sunday night on ABC at Never Felt It. Wow. Okay. It's going to air at ABC on Sunday night at 7:00 Eastern time. And when they do these stop motions, this is how small the characters are. And some are even smaller than that. So and the set that they use is about the size of your desk, Pat. So
no kidding.
Small set, all kinds of lights, little cranes and stuff. And you're literally moving people like, a quarter of an inch, half an inch at a time, their feet, their arms, their mouth and everything. So Disney Studios had contacted them a little over a year ago to do a stop motion commercial for them for the Disney Channel. Then they came back to them and said, hey, would you like to produce Mickey Saves Christmas? So it's a big move for them as a studio, especially for my son. And he told me that they're already starting work on the Halloween special for next October. So it takes almost a year to put these things together. So very proud of that kid.
The credits.
Yeah, he said he's going to be in the upper left-hand side. It's going to say lead animator Johnny McHone. So I'm looking forward to watching that. But Opendoor Technologies has another class action lawsuit. It was showing up here for a moment. And it's someplace out of Oakland. It's a teacher's retirement fund is suing them. And they're suing them because they're saying that they weren't representing their true earnings, and it's one of many. So they're going to get, I think this is like the third class action that I've seen. So they're already burning cash at a rapid rate, and I don't know how long going to hang in there, but they're just surprising me now. I'm looking at homes, and I thought I'd see a whole bunch of price reductions in November, and I don't see them.
It's almost like they're like the one house I'm watching for that one client, or he's watching it. They've been sitting pat. They dropped from 579 down to 470. They went 579 to like 529, 500. Now they're just sitting at 479.
Yeah. And I see a bunch of them sitting at 505, and but 479, they're stuck there. But then you look later, and I'm trying to find out the magic date when they really decide to go ahead and let let it go. And I'm not seeing any, because I just kind of figure they do their business by spreadsheet. They don't do it by emotion. And I'm not seeing a trigger. When they hit this amount of days, they go down this, far. So it's a tough one to follow. We have less than 20,000 homes on the market today, Pat. And that's, typically what goes on during the holiday. But look at this. I know it's kind of hard to see, but back here in the corner, our new listings or listings under contract dropped to 2,000. I predict by tomorrow that'll be down to 1,900. And new listings dropped way off because nobody listed anything for Thanksgiving. So we're going to have this huge, big cavern here that'll look like this one over here just because of the holidays. And then it comes up a little bit before Christmas, falls off the map again. And then we try to see what happens going into Christmas. And you can see here that, we slow down now as far as new listings, just going into the holidays on a natural basis.
Mm-hmm.
So we're declining, and that's to be expected. The Cromford Index, however, it really took a nosedive, but then it went down just a hair over the past 5 weeks from 102 down to 89. I suppose that's more than a hair, but it's definitely a buyer's market, but not everywhere. There's like Fountain Hills and Paradise Valley are still slightly above a seller's market. And those numbers will kind of improve too as listings become less and less over the holidays. So this isn't really going to tell us anything till we look at it again in January. This one's kind of a surprise, Pat. And I said, this one's kind of a surprise that canceled listings have not climbed up. They're down to 480 for the week. Many people probably wrote listing contracts to expire at the end of November. So we'll see expireds explode again like it did last time.
Yeah. I mean, this because Christmas, basically. I mean, if you're selling a house, if you haven't sold it, you're going to take it off the market.
Yeah. Or you went ahead and wrote a listing agreement with an agent to expire at the end of November. Yeah. You might have an intention of coming on, putting it on, in January, but that remains to be seen. But so quiet day for rates. The market was only open till noon today. So,
yep. Yeah. We, open till noon, and it was 5.5 coupon was down 12 basis points. The U.S. Treasury was up 3.69, but this is a 2-year, or this is a 1-year chart on rates, and you can see how, like I said, the last really since October 20. So really, the last month we've been in a downward trend with rates, which is a great sign. I mean, it's been a quiet week this week. There's going to be more volatility in the market as we get toward the Fed meeting in December. It's all anticipated 50 basis points. So I don't see any type of big reaction there. But next week, Barry Habib and MBS Highways are saying that we expect next Thursday to be probably a good day for the bond market because they anticipate the personal consumption expenditure report that's coming out to show even, lower appreciation. So they, that's the same thing that we had in November when we had that big 200-point day. A great reaction to the rates was, showing that inflation was, subsiding, even though it's there. I mean, we always talk about how the market looks ahead 6 to 8 months. So it just seems as though, we had this just crazy climb in rates. And it's kind of, you can see how you get these resistance levels. Let me see if I can pull it back. You get these, once you bust out of these resistance levels, there's different resistance levels. These lines right here, all resistance levels. How, right here, it hit that tip and we kind of start coming back down to it. That was 4.36 on the 10-year Treasury. So, I mean, right now we're at 3.69. So things are looking good on the rate front. I mean, it really seems as though, and I'll just say this real quickly. It just seems as though, Barry is saying that rates are going to probably subside here a little bit, next couple of months, but it just seems like demand seems very, housing demand seems very responsive to rates. That's, I've said that a couple of times, but, if we see rates lower, I think you're going to see those people that got pushed out, that were in the bidding wars. Now, if you get in the high, if they do trickle into the mid fives, you're going to see those people now, because now you don't have the bidding war,
Well, did somebody forgot to tell Opendoor that? Because remember, they came out with their exclusive listing page and said, avoid the bidding wars.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing, the headlines, that, and now you're going to see, I'm sure with the news, you're going to see the headlines, you're going to see the negative headlines. I don't know. My feeling is it just seems like we're really just pausing here the last 30 days and just kind of wait and see attitude amongst a lot of buyers and sellers. I mean, the buyers out there are the ones that are serious about, like, hey, I do want to get in this. And I think, I've got, a couple people, a handful of people that are like, hey, at least I don't have the bidding war. I can get some concessions. I have another guy that was looking at a townhome that was listed for $434 in my area. And he's put an offer in for $375. So he's down $50,000, and he was ready to jump on it 3 months ago.
Yeah, there's definitely a segment of buyers that are coming back out now. I'm surprised. I spoke last month about my web traffic, and I've been hearing from more and more people saying just that. They're in a position where they can buy. The people that are like first time home buyers that are priced out, they're sitting out, and that's what I was quickly going to show here. The sales per month is just pretty low, but the people that are in a position to buy are coming back out. If we get down to 5.5, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, but it doesn't look like the sales are still really low, so we don't see any upward pricing pressure.
No.
And I wrote a really low ball offer this week. And I just kind of wanted to add a little shock value and say, well, let's just go insultingly low and let's see what because the house just needs a lot of stuff. And the paint job that they did was just I did a little YouTube short on it. The side windows where they had some trim, they painted like 3/4 of the way up. And they must have been short. They just couldn't paint any higher. Didn't have a ladder, so they just stopped. And it was light purple. It was unbelievable. And but I said, well, let's just shoot it as low as we can, because you want to write an offer low, I'll write you an offer low. What I won't do is I won't go out and write a whole bunch of low offers for investors, because they always look for an agent just to spend all day at the computer writing a bunch of low offers and see if they get one. And that tends to be a little too much work and a waste of time. But for individuals that want me to, I'm hearing more and more that people are saying that the agent they were using says, oh no, that'll be too low. We don't want to do that. Well,
why not?
What, don't start.
Yeah.
Especially Opendoor, well, no, they'll be mad and they'll reject it. They never reject it. They call you by 3:00 next day and they go, hey, Rick, we still have a huge gap. What do you want to do? And we get to talk about it. So I haven't seen anybody say, let's go out and write that for asking price. So, and so that's kind of, I was going to ask you about this because the Fed, I saw an article here that said the Fed saw few signs inflation was easing. So they're talking about their last meeting, saw very few signs that inflation pressures were abating before raising their benchmark interest rate. So I guess that would say that's why they went up 75 points, as they were saying, well, we're not feeling the love yet. The results.
No, once again, they're academia. They're looking behind 6 months. They're looking in the rearview mirror with all their data. So that's the problem that they've had.
What does this tell you? This is the 10-year treasury minus 3-month treasury constant maturity. And the fact that it's way down here, and the talk is this is a good indicator for leading indicator for a recession. This is the what the heck's it called?
Well, inverted yield curve.
Yeah.
It's just bottom line is it does show it's the lowest it's been in years. So you can tell it does, based on that chart, it does show it is kind of the forecaster of a recession. So I think people are going to We talked about a couple of weeks ago about the fact that the credit has increased substantially. People are still spending, and the M2 supply has tightened up dramatically too. I saw that chart. That pullback, that's been getting squeezed. So things are tightening. I mean, it's just, I don't think we've seen the effects yet, but like you said, Barry Habib, just go back to the housing market. I think this sums it up well. He said, well, we'll see additional softness. He goes, we think that when rates come down to next year to 5%, we're going to see a reacceleration in appreciation. That's the way he put it.
If we get down to 5, I agree with him. I think it's I think that, well, we've already showed that would happen because it happened in July. Went down to 5.5.
Yep.
Tyler's saying, I recently read an article that said it may be time to make some disrespectful offers on houses. Not sure that would be welcomed by realtors. Well, look, if realtors aren't welcome writing low offers, then get out of the business. Because buyers set the prices. All that they set them, whether they're going up, they're coming down. The sellers don't set the prices. Sellers set the asking price. The market sets the actual value of the home. So if they're priced too high right now, the buyers are saying, no, it's not worth that to me. Now, exactly. So the one I'm writing a low ball offer on now, I knew going in that they weren't going to get the offer, and I'm still waiting. They got till 6 tonight, but I know they're not going to accept that because we also asked for a whole bunch of concessions. But
they're not watching the show. Tell you, they're sure you're listening to your strategy.
Yeah, they're not watching the show. I didn't reveal my total strategy, but I guarantee you, if they just out reject this house will be at the same list price today in December. Nobody's going to buy it.
Yeah,
it's priced too high, and the buyers are just going to say no. I as a buyer, I'm not going to pay for that. Now, realtors, if they're not welcoming writing lower offers, then they must be new.
Yeah. So. I mean, it's the client's money. He's the one who's making the mortgage payment. Screw everybody else. I mean, if you put an offer in, view whatever, obviously there are some disrespectful off, I wouldn't say disrespectful, but I mean, you know what? If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. It's just
we have a fiduciary duty to write, to do what our clients ask for. And now if somebody wants to come in so low that I know that it's not going to fly, I'm going to tell them. I'll say, I'll write that, but here's what's going to happen. But I've heard probably 4 times in the last 3 weeks from buyers that have said, well, my agent wouldn't do that. And it's like, really? Now, Betta here, she says, we made cash offers based on value. You don't like it? So sad, too bad. We refuse to buy junk. I think that's correct. Buyers have more power. Hold your ground. Now, the buyers had a lot of power when they were buying too, because they were able to bid up. They had a lot of cash. So the buyers they're always controlling the purse strings.
Yeah.
I read comments. I see sellers are greedy. Sellers have nothing to do with it. Sellers are putting out the asking price based on their perception, but if nobody wants it, it's just gonna sit there. They lag. The listing prices lag behind the seller's expectations. I think quite a bit, and that's where we're seeing. If I can pull up my list prices here by topic, let's see, listing pricing. Here we are. Active, pending, closed, all of them here. It's still interesting to watch how the listing prices up here came down, but they're just kind of staying there.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the actual one I wanted, but you get the point. And Cromford even made the comment today in one of their special reports that said what we don't see, what the average person doesn't see, is how much was given in concessions. So you'll see that the house down the street sold for $450. You don't get to see how much they gave the buyer in closing cost concessions or rate buy down money.
Mm-hmm.
So they're asking this dollar amount for their home, and they're leaving themselves wiggle room to throw another carrot out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to stick to my guns at 475, but I'm willing to give them $10,000
Yeah. Seems like
or
10 to
for
15 to
repair.
8, 10 to 15, $16,000. You know, if they can get, typically people are getting, a rate buy down, a 2-1 rate buy down, say a $400,000, $450,000 house. It goes by difference on the rate, but it typically will run you about $8,000 to $10,000. Then I'm seeing people, sellers saying, okay, we'll throw in another $6,000 for closing costs too.
Yeah, and we're seeing that here. That I'm trying to make it a little bit bigger here for you. That seller concessions are up 46.5%.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
I mean, look at July of 2021. I mean, it was, July, and then what was that? What was it? The 22, just in that low point there.
July 21,
Yeah,
10%.
May, June, July. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Mr. Ross here. I'm a buyer and I feel prices need to come down 15 to 20%. Too many houses, California like prices, starting to see some corrections. Happy to sit on the sideline 3 to 6 months. That's what tells the difference between now and 2008. Nobody was sitting on the sidelines in 2007 saying, I'm going to wait for prices to come down. Nobody.
no.
They just kept buying like drunken sailors. And then when the market collapsed in the credit markets and everybody's loan reset, and we also had a whole lot of vacant homes. People bought homes they had no intention of moving into. They were going to use them as rentals, and they saturated the market. So when the credit market had its hiccup, everything fell apart. Now there's a lot of people waiting. Now they're waiting. 20% seems to be that magic number, Pat. I see it all the time. And
20%.
Terry's the CPI is CPI. Everybody's got a number.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask Miguel, you say 20% off of what? Our high from 2022 or 20% off of what year? Because people throw that number at me all the time, and I'm not disagreeing with them, but I want them to go down 20% from today or.
Yeah. You got to have a baseline. I mean, it's just amazing how, you look at the delinquencies, like you said, the more and more every week we do this show, people are, several months ago we had, 6 to 8 months ago, the crash is coming. Like we're talking about the demand. And Barrett, I had seen on MBS Highway that he said that CoreLogic released their loan performance insights for September, and it was unchanged. Loans 30 days or more stayed at 2%, and delinquency stayed at 2.8%, and those at 90 days remained at 1.2%. It said, lastly, loans in foreclosure were unchanged at a near multi-decade low of 0.3%. So it says, for all the talk of housing being savagely unhealthy, all the delinquency figures are very healthy and at low levels. For perspective, delinquencies were 6 times higher during the housing crash.
Yeah, no doubt. We had during the housing crash, we had 30,000 delinquencies, or not delinquencies, but pre-foreclosures. Today we have, I think, 550.
I think, people, like you said, what I just said earlier about that, it just seems like this market, I think people ought to watch rates more than houses are they're going to soften. They have been softening, but I think watching rates, if rates do get down to a sustained level, if they can stay in a certain level, because the volatility is what kills. When rates drop from say 7 down to 5, only for a week or two, you want to see consistency in the rates. But I think the biggest push for the demand is going to be rates.
Yeah, no doubt. Here's May 2022. That was our peak. $305 per square foot. Today we are at $278 per square foot. I don't have my calculator out looking at the percentage difference there. That's monthly average sales price. It goes, let's see, price by square foot.
What, 9%?
Is that 9%? Yes, you got another 11% to go. So I guess when you get down
9-10%.
here, there's the entrance point. But it goes back to that chart that I give everybody that said you got to work through your own scenarios because it's all about the payment, like you just said, Pat. You know,
Yeah.
it's about the payment. And if you're in a house and you like your payment and the price is coming down a little bit, and you're sitting there like today with a payment that's in the 2.78% range, you ain't moving.
No,
I'm
no.
staying put. So
We
now
still
we got
have
to watch
affordability
unemployment, but
You know, there's still an affordability issue, no doubt about that. I mean, but they're not, you know, it's nothing you can do about that.
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
until
next week. So what day are they coming out with a new report?
BLS, well, Thursday. Thursday is the PCE number. So, you know, we're probably going to be traders are going to be back from the holiday. So you're going to see a lot more action in the market. And like I said, Thursday, the PCE numbers come out. So I think it will be an interesting day on the market to see what happens. So.
Yeah, but it's going to be interesting is you're going to be, so let's say rates go down, you know, that it's a favorable time for rates.
Yeah.
Buyer traffic's still going to be down because of Christmas.
Yeah.
So sellers, if you're thinking of all of listing in January, pay very close attention to that number next week and the market, because it's not a bad idea to list over the Christmas holidays. It really isn't, because you get serious buyers, and because they're the ones out there looking because they have to move in January. Either their lease is expiring or they've got they have a job transfer for whatever reason they need to move. Miguel, thanks a bunch. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I think especially those that don't have a clue. You know, and that was me when I moved from Seattle to Southern California in 1990. I came down with, you know, wife and two kids. I didn't have any idea what the real estate market was doing.
Yeah.
And nobody in that real estate office said, okay, Rick, well, here's what the market is doing. They're just like, here's what's for sale.
Yeah.
What would you like to offer? I didn't know. I just knew that I had a corporate relocation and I had to move. I had no resources. So real estate agents that are complaining about Zillow, you know, Zillow is awful. They're taking our listings. I wish I would have had some type of national portal to go look at homes, because we would fly down for a weekend and spend 2 days looking for homes and have to make a decision and then fly back, back to Seattle. And that also happened to me when I went to Albany, New York. We didn't have the internet. You had that stupid book, you do that book. And
if you think about the flow of information that we get now with all the listings and the price changes and interest rates, there's a lot of information to go through. And like I said, you and I are just trying to kind of present it, some couple of things that we see during the week or that might, and we're not, I don't think I'm not trying to predict anything, but you're just trying to see a trend of like what's kind of going on.
Yeah, we have access to information that the average person doesn't. And so we'll share it. Found a new build in Avondale. Investor bought for $456 September, now dropped to $385, hoping it drops more or get 25,000 concessions to buy it on a fixed rate. You know what? If that's what you're looking for, then go offer it. Don't wait for the price to come to you. You go to the price. So, because if they lower that price down there and that's attractive to you, you're not the only one attracted to that.
Yeah.
So you might go in and they'll go, well, we got two other people interested in it. But if you go in and you're prepared and you've got a number it's just like buying a car. I go in when I buy a car, and I haven't bought a car off a lot in ages, but I usually say, this is the payment I want. And so I think, don't wait for them to lower. So you've got it. It's down to 385. You'd like to get 25,000 in concessions there. I'll bet there's wiggle room there. I'd go in and say, I like your price, but boy, I tell you what, I'd like to get down a fixed rate of 5.3. Let's talk. And do it before they get there. And I think you might be surprised. You might win out. So try to do that. Patrick looks sunburnt. I hope the view is just the picture.
No, actually, I played golf yesterday with no. He's very Kato's very observant. I played golf with no sunscreen.
Yeah, we're going to do a show next week on Pat's skin cancer. and we'll do that.
Right. I have been. I've got.
Let me
I've got
know.
spots like it. I've got spots. It looks like it was a nom. It's like, yeah. This is in 74, and I got one down here. I got about 5 or 6 spots they took off, but yeah, it was a little hotter than I thought. But yeah, I got to work on the sunscreen next time. So
well, as long as you hit them long and straight, who cares about a little melanoma, right? So
exactly.
I think I may have a realtor that doesn't want a low ball offer. You're not low balling them from what I see. You've got you got a price that you want. You're attracted to the price that they're already had. You want some concessions. So sit
I don't
down,
know why.
have your realtor sit down and go, here's what my client would like to see to make this deal. He'd like to get down to a rate at 5.3. How far off are you? That's what I would do.
I hear so many realtors that fight the client. I'm like, oh, you can't do that. Or, why not? Why not? I mean, did the sellers care about the buyers a year ago? No.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't want him to pay 40,000 more.
I don't want him to pay $60,000 more over for that offer. No. So the times have shifted. I mean, let's face it. I mean, so I applaud that, but I can't. I hear realtors.
I think Pat, the thing that's clicking with me on that one is he sees a price that he wants. Okay, so he knows what he wants. So click spiffy, is that what click spiffy? You see the price you want, you're happy with the price. There's just a term there that you would like to see and another number that you want to hit. So
called negotiating.
So that investor doesn't have a clue that that's what your mindset is.
Yeah.
And he may be more flexible than you think. But you can always go there, and if they say no, say, mind if I circle back after the holidays?
Yeah. I mean, some of these realtors, I just don't get it as far as how, I just, give me a holler. Huh?
Tyler, he says, use Rick, I'll go fight for you.
Exactly. No, I just I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
but and fun.
Huh? Yeah. That's called negotiating. It's called negotiating. That's what realtors do. That's what you're supposed to do. These a lot of agents got lazy last year. It's like, I'm preaching to the choir, but how many times did you hear some of your best, highest and best?
Oh God, I hate that.
It's like, shut up. It's just like, it's like that's the art of negotiating. It's like, if you do offer, it's nice if you have, like, you said, well, I'm going to offer this. And if the seller comes back and says, well, you got this is what we got to repair. We're looking at this, give them some, reason. It's nice to have that, but I just don't understand why they fight the client like, oh, I would never put an offer in like that. It's like me walking to a bar and say, I can never ask that girl out. She'll never go out with me. Why not? Just ask her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you gotta, you gotta ask 50 of them to get one. So,
So
Keto says, my view is the total financial impact, not the components such as the I rate or the asking price. In my case, it'll take a lot to part with the 2.5% loan. Exactly. I agree with you.
Yep.
And Terry, we're going to kick you off the show. That word's been banned. So you need to get on and buy one of our Crush It t-shirts. So 20 years of being an agent, and they have under the belt. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I think when a market changes as fast as it is right now, everybody kind of has to change their mindset. And when you do get some buyers that go, well, I want, 70,000 less for this house. And if it's too far off, you just have to be honest and tell them. But like I said earlier, and I'm repeating myself, and I look at that, I go, well, I think you're closer than you think. I think, it's Zillow shows what price they brought the property from. Yeah. Well, yeah. Zillow's got a lot of information. They were getting sued like crazy. If you put your home on the market for 500,000 and they put a Zestimate up for 470, they were really getting sued in Illinois because they were off by like $100,000 on this one house, and they took them to task for it. They also said, why would you buy when everybody else is buying the last 2 years? And I thought, well, I'm sure they weren't telling your clients that. It's a it's kind of fun now. I think that it's okay to take a look at like I'm looking at some Opendoor homes right now for a client, and I'm trying to find that trigger that tells me they're about to lower the price, and I'd like to swoop in when I think that day's coming. Because once they lower the price, everybody else sees it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are they lowering them every 60 days? And so you got to click house by house and look at every one and rub your eyes and go back and go, okay, it looks like they make an adjustment on day 61. Okay, I get that. But I can't figure out at what percentage that they come down. And so you're trying to get ahead of the game. I do know that after 6 days, they don't move. So it doesn't do any good to try and pull them down after 6 days. So but that's the advantage of looking at an iBuyer, because you're looking at one company that has their own internal strategy, but individual investors and builders don't. So you're not going to know where they're sit. So let's go back to this builder for just a moment here and talk out loud and say, okay, you go in, you sit down with them. I like your price. It's a great price. I love it. What I'm struggling with, I'd love to get this rate. And they go, well, we're not ready at this point to put that kind of money in for the rate. How far down can you get me? In concessions, what can you get me? Well, we can get you adjustable rate. I don't want an adjustable. I want a fixed at 5.3. What would that take? And they crunch the numbers and they go, well, that's $25,000, whatever the number is. We're not ready to do that yet. Okay. All right. Well, good. Well, look, do you mind if I check back with you?
Well, they might even check back with the buyer.
We'll check back with you. Keep my number there.
Yeah.
And so I think, and it comes to that because they've got access to that money to buy the rate down. We're a culture where a lawsuit is the rule, not the exception. It's perfectly legal to sue another for anything. Yeah, I know. Opendoor is normal. Can you get an arm for 7 years, Pat?
Yeah, but with the inverted rate curve, it's this 5 and 7 years have not been pricing out that attractively. I mean, I do know that there are private credit unions that might have an attractive 5 or 7 year arm. Overall, it hasn't. I mean, in my market, it has not been attractive right now. But you might see, especially credit union that might be able to give you we're trying to get some relationship with some credit unions from Price Mortgage, but it's typically a portfolio loan that they lend out their own money. But that is going to be, I think that's going to be going away soon too, to, the cheaper money, because they borrow money at a certain rate too. So, yeah, 7 it's kind of tough with the inverted rate curve for the overall best part.
Well, Pat, so you went golfing on Thanksgiving Day?
Yep. Played the worst round of golf I have in about 10 years, so I didn't want to talk about it. I've been golfing
quite a few years ago.
For 47 years, I swear to God, I look like I literally just picked up a set of clubs. Oh my God, it was terrible.
I went several years ago with some friends on the Friday after Thanksgiving, and that's when everybody takes their uncle or nephew out that's never golfed before. It's the slowest round of golf I'd ever have. I will never go out the day after Thanksgiving again. And I probably should have, because despite a couple of showers, I still smell like hickory. I smoked a turkey yesterday, and my son told me that it was the best flavored turkey he'd ever had. I got it at Fry's, and they had already split it and seasoned it, gave you these butter packs to stick inside under the skin, and I smoked it at 250 degrees for a couple hours, and then turned it up to 300. And oh my God, I have a green egg. That was the best bird.
Oh, that's awesome.
And, but everything smells like hickory now around me. So, well, Pat, have a super one. Don't go out and try to get any more skin cancer before the weekend's over. I think you've done enough. And thank you for finding that how to eliminate that alien noise that we've been listening to.
Yeah. So my email. So.
All right. Have a good one,
buddy,
Pat.
Take care, everybody.
See ya.